We're set. No issues this time.
Hopefully not. Who knows? I have discovered I have like a really unique skill for finding something that can go terribly wrong that's different every time.
Okay. I think I'm slightly more prepared this time, so
Oh, good. Last one, just a rehearsal.
Yes, that's okay. I can handle that sort of explanation.
All right. Oh my gosh, I can't go on Twitter or anywhere else right now without running into all of this. Just stuff I didn't need to know about the sexual preferences of our future president.
It's made my day so much more fun now.
I was at work nanning these kids while I was looking at it, and I was like, oh my God.
But it was so amazing and out of just completely nowhere.
I know. Do you remember when it was like a huge deal that someone found a picture of President Obama smoking like a joint in college, and people are like, how could he be president after that? And now here we are.
With a guy who apparently wanted prostitutes to pee on a bed, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
You're ready. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Hamlet in Space. Our guest today is Corey Stevens, and he is very special because he is the first person on this podcast to be a man of the people. Corey.
Sorry.
Corey, how did you get interested in Shakespeare?
It was probably later middle school, early high school, just because I wasn't the biggest fan of Romeo and Juliet, but I pushed myself to read Julius Caesar and then Macbeth and then Hamlet and then Much Ado About Nothing, and then it was just a connection from there.
Nice. And so do you have any expertise in Shakespeare that you want to let the audience know about?
Expertise? Not necessarily, but I know enough of background about something, and since we're talking about a certain play today, I've made sure to master that play to a very specific degree.
And the play we're talking about is?
Titus Andronicus.
Shakespeare's most popular play until he died. During his time, during life, I believe this play made him the most money. I read that on the internet. It could be true. It could not be true. We're going to roll with it.
I'm 100% backing your belief because I have no reason to believe otherwise.
It was one of those things that someone told me or I read somewhere, and it's just always, I just accepted it 100% as fact. I have no idea. I've never fact-checked it.
I'm not going to dispute it just simply based on the fact that it makes everything a lot more insane given the content of the play.
I like it. All right. Do you think you can give us kind of like the 1-minute rundown about what Titus Andronicus is about?
Yes. So, Titus Andronicus is basically a play that has just about every vile thing you can possibly think of. It begins with a climax of a 10-year-long war, and...
Is that a good use of the word climax? I don't know, Corey.
Well, okay. It begins with the ending of a 10-year-long war.
Better.
It's going on to a ritual sacrifice. Straight onto a plot about revenge, then rape, murder, more revenge, cannibalism, murder, and then a quasi-weird, almost happy ending based upon the rape, murder, cannibalism, revenge plot.
Truly,
all wrapped in a neat bow.
Family.
But
There's also, someone loses their tongue.
Correct. There is consistent body mutilation, and I forgot to mention the cut off of arms and tongue included in this.
Yep. With the same girl who gets violently raped, it is really rough. She does not have a good play.
No, that's definitely one of the bigger issues of the play, especially if you take it as a tragedy rather than a satire of absolute insanity.
Yeah. Well, okay, so Titus Andronicus used to be a really popular Shakespeare play and is really not at all. I've never seen it done. It's actually the first play that we've talked about that I've never seen performed and never even heard of a company doing, unless it's one of those companies that does every single Shakespeare play. It's really not popular at all. So I don't know, do you have any theories as to why it used to be popular and now is not?
Well, I know besides you mentioned like the play like Laurence Olivier, I think, did it. But other than that, I can't think of anything that actually did it of substance. And I think the main reason is just because it's so difficult to adapt. Like everything else you can adapt, and everything else has a clear theme. This play has a metric ton of characters, and it's completely all over the place. And it's very difficult to take either seriously or as a comedy, given how much pure, brutal, offensive things happen in it, in a sense.
Well, I was kind of thinking when I was trying to think about what would have made it so popular in Shakespeare's time. And it is a very visceral play. Like it's nonstop action. I think it's probably like the Shakespearean equivalent of going to like a C- action movie where it's just like cars exploding constantly. I think Titus Andronicus is the Transformers of Shakespeare. Like it's just constant bloodshed and things happening on stage. Like you have like a woman's arms are just ripped off of her body on stage. That was probably like the height of entertainment back in the day where you're like, yeah, like I'm drunk. I've got my ale. I paid a penny for this. Like shower me in the first row in blood. Let's make this happen.
No, I think you're exactly right with that. It's just, it was complete pandemonium and it fit with the bloodlust of the time because they had what? They had no radio, they had no TV, they had no anything else. They didn't have much to go on. So they got drunk and watched this absolute batshit Michael Bay-esque blood rain terror. And you factor in although it doesn't have like as high as a body count as like King Lear, but that actually has a more focused narrative. So
I actually think it might have a higher body count than King Lear.
I don't know for sure, but
this one has 14 killings, 6 severed members, 1 rape, 1 live burial, 1 case of insanity, and 1 of cannibalism. An average of 5.2 atrocities per act, or 1 every 97 lines. Thank you for that, Spark Notes.
It definitely does help. I mean, a lot of it happens in the last act, so that compounds things, but it's still a metric ton of violence in every single act, and that does definitely help move things along pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. All right, so what is your interpretation of Titus Andronicus in the modern age? Hit me with it. Can you tell me on this?
Okay, so basically what I'm trying to do here is instead of making it about a guy named Titus Andronicus and basing it on a war or some sort of environment like that, I'm creating a character named Theora, which is basically the same traits as Titus Andronicus, but it's just a woman just because I prefer to do it that way. And it's going to be based upon, in a sense, a Wall Street-like world.
Okay.
Where murder is a little bit ignored.
So a Wall Street-like world.
Yes. But essentially what will happen is the company that is run by the emperor, or basically Theora's brother or whatever, overtakes another company that is run by Tamora and her 3 sons, or we'll condense the characters. It doesn't make too much of a difference. But ultimately what will happen is the general rules of acquisition in this world is that you get to do whatever you want to this company.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is Theora brings in Tamora, and 2 of her sons, will go with 2 sons, and Aaron the Moor. And she murders the oldest son in front of her just to make a point, and then forces Tamora to work within the company. So during this, Tamora and the Aaron the Moor character will actually come along with a plan for revenge, but it's not going to be the same as it was in Titus Andronicus. So ultimately what will happen is that they start killing Theora's children. But instead of getting revenge directly, what Theora does is pretty much kills all of their families instead. So it just becomes this twisted back and forth cat and mouse game where they just start killing affiliates of one another. And then ultimately at the end, instead of the bloodbath that consumes everything and ends with Lucius standing tall, what would happen is that the Lucius character, which would be a woman again in this along with Theora, what we would get is those 2. So we would have Theora and her daughter would be sitting across from Aaron the Moor and Tamora, and they would be sitting in a business meeting-like environment, surrounded by blood, because they've murdered so many people that the company is completely empty besides those four. And they're actually eating the pies that are consumed with parts of the various people they've killed. And they're pretty much staring at each other, smiling and laughing, waiting for the other two to crack. And then that's how its scene ends.
I love it.
And a lot of it is based on the fact that I want to do Viola Davis in the main role.
Oh, I like that. Viola Davis is Titus Andronicus.
Yes. And so she would hopefully be able to roll with the whole fun part of it. And
yeah, tell me about tone a little more. Kind of dig in. Is this more like a violent comedy? Is it a tragedy?
It's definitely
What
more.
are you going for?
I'm definitely going for more of like a complete farce comedy type. Just complete bloodlust in a sense, but it's done with a smile in a way.
Okay. And what kind of budget do you see for this? Is like this a big budget Hollywood blockbuster, or is this kind of like more of a small indie cult favorite?
I'm thinking more of a cult favorite because I want to have someone like Sofia Coppola direct it and model it over the style, but with a more sense of humor, like of The Bling Ring.
Ooh, I like it.
Amp the living crap out of the violence of The Bling Ring, and think of that with a little more humor, and that's the style I would aim for.
Do you see Emma Watson taking a role in this movie?
If she wanted, I don't think it would work necessarily well because I'm assuming she would die unless she wanted to play Tamora, but I think she might be too young to pull it off.
I feel like she'd have to be Lavinia.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
But there is definitely no sexual assault in my version because I couldn't play that off. It's just murder. So
Murder. Some good old-fashioned family murder.
Maybe some dismemberment.
Okay.
I can really factor that in.
Okay.
But yes.
All right. I like it. I'm feeling it. Sold. You have $15 million. Go make your movie.
That's all I ask. And so you have to come back at me and wow me.
Are you ready for this? Oh,
yes.
What's the name of your movie?
I'm just thinking Theora, just to change it from Titus Andronicus to Theora. I don't need a last name for this.
How about just Viola Davis?
That would be amazing if I could just name it after everything after Viola Davis.
I think really that's I think that's all you need to sell it. Viola Davis commits murder. Done. Sold. On board.
With a smile on her face.
Yes. I feel like she'd take it, honestly.
I think she would. I mean, she's in a How to Get Away with Murder, right?
Yeah. Like I feel like, strong, powerful women who kill people. Like that really seems to kind of be something she enjoys.
Yeah, exactly. I think she could work with that, and plus she would have a lot of fun with the role.
All right. Done. I'll get Viola Davis, you get Sofia Coppola. Let's make this movie.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm game for yours, and I'm hyped now.
All right. So I was thinking, how do you make Titus Andronicus, which is really just an over-the-top ridiculous play? Like there's a reason it's not done that much. It's not that great. But like, how do you put that into the 21st century? Obviously, the answer is a high school post-apocalyptic movie. So this movie, it's set 5 years in the future. It's called Queen of the Goths. After a surprise nuclear war has laid waste to most of the world, but one rich Southern California high school has survived completely intact. The factions of the high school have solidified and grown into their own tribes, with the two largest warring tribes being the Goths, who own the cafeteria, and the Jocks, who own the quad. They've been at war since time immemorial, and the Jocks are running low on food, but under the leadership of the former gym coach, Andy, who is the only adult left alive. They've just scored a huge victory by capturing Tamara, Queen of the Goths, and murdering her best friend, Andrea, on the cafeteria floor in front of her eyes, and then baking her into a stew to help the hungry Jocks maintain their gains. So Tamara's right-hand generals, who are Clarissa and Ferguson, they're determined to rescue her. But they're a little more kind of bumbling sidekicks, and they end up kidnapping Lavina, which is Andy's much younger girlfriend, a cheerleader, who was wearing Tamara's furs as a prize. Now Aaron, he's the only black kid at school. He's obviously the updated version of Aaron the Moor, and he's assigned to guard Tamara. And he's nominally part of the Jocks, but deep down, he hates pretty much everyone and all of them. And him and Tamara, they begin the secret romance. and they hatch a plan to get a deadly revenge on the jocks. They recruit the angry feminists who live in the library, who agree to help the goths in their war against the jocks after Aaron gives a stirring speech about the evil jocks' misogyny. Meanwhile, in the goths camp, Lavinia is being brutally tortured by the goths. Finally, the day has come. The feminists open their fire escape to the goths, who surprise attack the jocks in the night, and begin killing as many as possible. Aaron frees Tamara, but just as the goths are winning, and right before Tamara strikes the killing blow into Andy's heart, she is knifed in the back by Lavinia, who has been freed by the angry feminists, who are angry at the goths' brutal mistreatment of her. Andy is horrified and disgusted by Lavinia's disfigurement, and she stabs him too. Flash forward 6 months. The feminists are sitting down to a delicious-looking dinner with Lavinia as their black shrouded queen at the head of the table. The camera pans over to the walk-in freezer, where we see dozens of the frozen heads of the jocks and goths, with the camera pausing on Aaron, Tamara, and Andy's lifeless, frozen heads. Smash to credits. Punk rock music plays. Directed by the Coen brothers.
The Coen?
Yeah. Think about it. It works.
I do like it a lot. Okay. So I do like it a lot, and I like that you went in a different direction with 3 different groups, like having the goths, the angry feminists, and the jocks. And
which group do you see yourself a part of?
I stopped playing sports right before high school, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in with the goths.
Okay.
And then, get murdered. But,
you have to go longer.
But I really do like it, and I like the ending with the angry feminists standing tall as opposed to like Lucius and Titus Andronicus, and I like that the men's heads are sitting up as a representation of what happened to them, essentially.
Nice. Do you feel like we can sell this? Is this marketable?
I think it would work. I think it would definitely work. I mean, considering some of the stuff the Coen brothers have been able to pass off, I think it could definitely work.
I would like $100 million budget. Can you make that happen, studio executive?
I think I can work on it. I think I could get pushed for it.
Thank you. I appreciate your faith.
I have definite faith in something like this working. An R-rated, very violent. This is more of like a comedy type, so
yes,
I'm thinking this could definitely work if we pushed the violence and teen action part of it. So
I'm thinking casting-wise, Michael B. Jordan as Aaron the Moor. And then Tamara, I'm not sure. Someone who can like really kind of do like the punk goth look. Who is that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Are we looking for like a high school aged person?
Young 20s, because they're 5 years past high school at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to think of who could pass along for young 20s, like that sort of thing. I mean, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's maybe a little bit too older now, but
we'll think about it.
Yeah. I think it could work. Okay, we just have to pitch it and then work from there.
Just out of left field, how do we feel about Channing Tatum for Andy, the gym teacher?
I like it a lot, just because Channing Tatum plays off comedy very well. So
come on, playing the douchey older dude with the way too young girlfriend. Yeah. I think we can make this work.
I could definitely work with Channing Tatum doing that. He exemplifies that in his best roles. So,
right. And then we'll get the Magic Mike crowd, which is all I want.
I'm perfectly fine with that because or at least Magic Mike XXL is much better than the original Magic Mike.
Magic Mike XXL is a religious experience.
I can definitely see that. It's pretty great. And
Jada Pinkett Smith.
There's not many flaws in it. I'm gonna be honest.
I think that's Shakespeare in its own way.
I can see that in some sense, although not tragic enough. But
was there? I mean, he doesn't get the girl in the end. She goes off and does her thing, right?
I guess so. Yeah. I guess in that sense, that's how it improves on the original. That and it doesn't have Cody Hall.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh. Am I? Yeah. She might be one of the worst actresses I've ever seen in a mainstream movie.
Definitely. And
Cody Horn, I think that's her name.
there you go. There you go. Okay. I was one of the names was going to
Yeah.
come up. But yes. Yes, that was bad.
Yeah.
But relative to Titus Andronicus, but overall, it's Magic Mike, so you have to find a way to praise it anytime you can.
I mean, I feel like Magic Mike is always relevant to the conversation.
Really, I don't understand why it's not brought up more often.
I mean, clearly you're not hanging out with the right people because where I live, it's brought up a lot.
I'm not. I try to bring it up on occasion, and all I get back is boring bullshit. So I just
All
need.
right, guys, if you haven't seen Magic Mike Extra Large, go see it. It's amazing. Skip the first one; it's not worth it.
It's not that. It's not. It's okay.
Just go to the stripping scenes. Nothing else is that great.
Okay, that's fine. Um,
Right. Do you think there should be strippers in either? I feel like there's strippers in your movie if you're doing like a Wall Street esque Titus Andronicus.
I think I could probably force like when originally when the acquisition first takes place, then Viola Davis's character would just randomly hire strippers to as she murders the son of
Yes.
Tamora's character just to
Male strippers, female strippers are mixed.
mixed.
Mixed. I agree. You gotta put, you want to get as wide an audience as possible.
Exactly. And I want to just throw people off just while having random strippers thrown into a scene where someone's getting murdered.
Yeah. Are they stripping as the bodies are falling? I feel like the answer is yes.
Probably, but it just depends how graphic I need to make it.
I mean, you've got $15 million and an R rating. Go crazy.
$15 million in Viola Davis's presence, which is all I need.
Yes.
Yeah, I can make that work. I can definitely make that work. Could you have strippers in your high school is the question.
I don't think so. I don't think there are strippers in the high school. I mean, maybe if you like wanted to go to a really dark place with the jocks and like the remainder of the cheerleaders, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't think you can
It doesn't really work.
yeah, I definitely don't think that could work. Yeah.
Whose do you think actually would outsell the other? Which one do you think is a more marketable movie?
Probably yours, simply based on the fact that it's more, I don't know a way to put it, has a focused narrative as opposed to mine, which is just relentless backstabbing and complete insanity.
You need a B story in yours. Constructive criticism.
Oh, okay.
Bring it. You have an A story, but I feel like you need a little bit more of a B story.
Okay, in that sense, I think there could be something where the Aaron the Moore based character, as opposed to being from the second company, was actually working for the first company as part of Tamora's plan if they ever got bought out, because she assumed something like that might happen.
Oh, I like that.
And that's how they eventually get to the end of the table. And instead of murdering each other, they just stare off once they realize that Aaron the Moore's character was working for Tamora all along.
Ah, dun dun dun.
Yes.
All right.
But it would take effort to develop something like that, but I think it could work.
I don't know, do you have any final thoughts on Titus Andronicus you want to share?
Sure. So I don't think Titus Andronicus is close to the best. I mean, it's ridiculous, and if you take it as serious, you're gonna have a bad time with it.
There is no subtext.
No, it's definitely I see it as a satire of the serious epics that Shakespeare did at the time,
Hmm.
and that's why I don't know if I say it's close to my favorite or anything. I just think it's one of the more interesting, just given its backstory and everything that goes along with it.
Do you think there's actually will ever be a movie version of Titus Andronicus? Like, is there a way in real life that gets sold?
No chance.
None.
No chance. Do you think so?
Um, no, not really. Yeah, because it's not serious enough to like do like a deep serious, and it's not funny enough to do anything like it. No.
No, I get that, and there's definitely some complications. I mean, especially when you look at even his more famous plays, like Macbeth didn't do too well last year or the year before, the one with Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Oof, I'm a bad Shakespeare fan. I totally forgot about that.
I mean, I liked it. It's very stylized, but I liked it a decent amount. So,
Well, yeah. What's your favorite Shakespeare movie?
I mean,
You're inspired by or direct?
I'm probably just never gonna not say 10 Things I Hate About You. So,
I mean, it's the obvious best.
yes. I mean, look at all the careers it kick-started, and the fact that I've seen it like 45 times. So,
I have a poster of Heath Ledger from 10 Things I Hate About You that has gone to every dorm and apartment with me. It's hanging up on my wall right now.
the fact it better be hanging up on your wall.
I wake up to his face, and it's got the lyrics from the song he sings every morning. It stares down at me, and I feel very loved.
As you should be. There's a certain presence to the Heath Ledger poster that should reign above all.
Don't I love you, baby? Do. Wait, am I gonna get in trouble? I feel I didn't buy the rights to that song. I should probably stop.
You only say if you sing like a certain part of it, then you're fine.
I feel like me singing it would make the song not recognizable either way. So I could probably just sing the whole thing. It's fine.
You probably could and just pass it off as a parody. It could
Exactly.
definitely be that way. So I think that's protected under some copyright law. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Do you think Shakespeare's comedies are easier to adapt than his tragedies?
I think to a degree. I think that's why there's a fair amount of successful Much Ado About Nothing adaptations, and The Taming of the Shrew was so well done with 10 Things I Hate About You. And I mean, it's probably like that. I mean, some of his tragedies have done pretty well. I mean, there's the endless Hamlet creations, like Lion King stuff.
Oh yeah, I do forget about Lion King. That is technically a Hamlet.
Exactly. But it just depends.
Of course, there is an unending amount of Romeo and Juliets.
Yes, even if I'll have an undying loyalty to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet until the end of time. But you know,
I actually haven't gone to see any of like the gay Romeo and Juliets yet, because I feel like I keep like getting invited to friends who are in like theater productions of them, and I've never been able to make it to one. I'm waiting for the movie version though, because it's got to happen, right? Like it is the obvious.
I feel like it has to. If there's some indie that's not working on it already, then they better. I mean, there's like an untapped market that is being missed here.
Okay, audience, if any of you know of a gay Romeo and Juliet, send it to me. Send me that Twitter message, and I will watch it, and then I'll talk about it in the next episode, and you will get a shout out. So please do.
Yes, and I will also just take it from Katie, just because. Yes.
Actually, when I was in high school, my friends and I, we just spent a solid 24 hours watching every Shakespeare team movie. It was the best day of my life.
I am impressed by this day. I'm very jealous of this day.
Yeah, I was really cool in high school. I don't know if you can tell from that story. Super cool.
That's about as cool as you can get, really.
It was. I actually was like legitimately offended when I wasn't like even close to get voting onto like the prom court, and I look back and I'm like, why did you ever think that was going to happen? No one else did.
Well, when you think you could have made the prom court, you know, if you had Heath Ledger from 10 Things I Hate About You as your date, you know.
That's true. I think he had died by that point.
Damn.
Yeah, I think he died when I was a freshman.
I keep forgetting how young you are.
You're like 2 years older than me. Calm down.
I graduated in 2008. Okay.
Right. Wait, really?
Yes.
That's when I started high school in 2007.
I'm 26, so you know.
24? Yeah, I am 24, right? I'm not doing that math wrong.
As far as I know, you're 24.
Who knows?
You could be older, younger. You could be 19 for all I know, magically.
I could be. I don't exist. I'm all in your head, man. This is a lie.
Wow, I'm pretty impressed by the fact that I can project you to a completely different state and on Google Hangouts here.
I know. The delusions, they run deep.
They really do.
I know.
I'm impressed by everything that I can pull off here.
Well, thank you so much for being on this podcast, Corey. Audience, and I'll give him a big round of applause because he is our first non-Shakespeare expert. You are, in fact, an accountant from the Midwest. So thank you for providing the common person. Is that the common person thought? I don't know. You're the first person to actually be less qualified than me instead of like wildly more qualified than me. So this was really fun. I really enjoyed that.
I like the fact that I can be unqualified on your show. It makes me feel special.
I feel like, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like as a white dude, the fact that you get to come and pretend to be an expert while you're super unqualified, like that should just be a part of your life. Is that just not normal for you?
No, I undersell myself constantly, so that is
Why? You don't. Just go. 100%. You'll get away with it. Take my advice.
I'm too nice to do that.
You know what? You're an accountant. Commit some fraud. Run out to the Bahamas. Your life awaits you, Corey.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Also send me some of that money. I'm gonna charge you a consulting fee for this.
Okay, well, I'll give you the $100 million to make sure that you get the film done.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Queen of the Goths. That's what it's gonna be called. Watch out for it. Approximately never.
It'll come in 9 years, so we'll make it happen.
All right. Thank you again so much for being on here.
All right. Thank you for having me, and it was fun. And
Good. And I'll see you next week. Thank you, audience. Okay, we're good.
good. Recorded this one. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, let's double check. All right, I'm gonna